Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's Lucas,
It's Corey.
and we are here with some breaking news. It's the count out, by the way. Corey and Lucas. It turns out that MVP, what was it, Montel?
MVP.
Montel,
We don't call him
Montanious
MVP because
Porter.
I think WWE has that trademark, so that's why he's just MVP.
Why would they ever trademark that? Whatever. So it turns out that now this is official. Now normally I don't listen to the internet too much. I don't like those reports, but this one is legitimate. It turns out that MVP was injured at a Preston City wrestling event in the UK last night. The injury came during a tag team match where MVP later characterized the injury as popping his knee. He immediately limped to the back following the injury. He was supposed to wrestle at another PCW event, but is on crutches. And he actually cut a promo on crutches and said that his knee popped, and that he's going to the hospital for an x-ray, and that he needed an MRI done.
So, now if you remember, Kurt Angle fought EC3, and when he was being pulled back, he says, I definitely heard my knee pop.
And what does he have? An ACL tear. Now, although he didn't actually tear his ACL like legitimately in that match, he had the ACL tear before.
Well, yeah.
I've read comments, and people probably know a lot about ACLs. I mean, that's a pretty it's a nasty injury, but it is a common injury. Like that happen. It happens a lot in the world of athletics. They say when you hear your knee pop, that's typically something very serious, and an ACL tear, and that's a pretty big deal considering that Slammiversary, 2 weeks away.
One of TNA's big pay-per-views, which they don't do monthly pay-per-views anymore.
Yeah.
This is one of the big ones.
And they have been pushing so hard this MVP and Eric Young feud, and I was actually really excited for it. They've been pushing it so hard.
I think they've been doing so good with it. I know Lucas was telling me some people don't think it's good. I think they've been doing a great job. I think MVP is doing great mic work. I
never realized he was that good on the mic.
I hated the fact that they made him heel, because I felt like they rushed it. I told Lucas this. Obviously, we made a video. I made a video about it. But I thought he was doing such a good job that it didn't even bother me that he was a heel now.
Exactly. I never realized he was that good on the mic when I was a kid. Not that I really cared about how people sounded on the mic, but listening to him in TNA, I was like, wow, this is like really good. He sounds like a natural-born talker, like just really smooth on the mic. Now, you would say, okay, 2 weeks, they could throw someone together with like Eric Young and someone else, right? They could do something. Problem, TNA, ever since leaving the Impact Zone, which was the worst decision they have ever made, they should have stayed in the original Impact Zone, because the new Impact Zone looks like crap. It looks awful. I hate it. It's so ugly. Ugliest thing I've ever seen. Maybe I'll get into that later. But they filmed like 5 Impact episodes in a row, all the way leading up to Slammiversary. So they have the next 2 weeks already taped. So they can't redo anything. Everything's already set in stone, and it's not like they can go book an arena or book the Impact Zone super quickly and just redo everything. They are screwed.
Like, you gotta think, like, just, I mean...
No. Granted, like...
TNA is just, like...
They're screwed.
TNA's like, why should we let people, like, just bury us? Why not just bury ourselves? Let's just start,
Now, granted, I bet TNA didn't think something like this would happen, obviously, but, like, they have a very light schedule. So people don't get injured as much in TNA. They really don't.
No, they don't.
I think Kurt Angle's like been the only one that's really been injured. I'm trying to think of other people who have been.
The one guy that broke his neck.
But that was like an accident in the ring. Yeah, but like a lot. That was.
I know what you're saying though. A lot of wrestlers really don't get as injured as in WWE.
They have enough time to rest and all that.
Exactly.
But someone brought up how having like 5 tapings in a row and then like doing other events would like add on to that, and they also said like having MVP work or like letting MVP work in a different event was stupid this close to a Slammiversary. But I mean, without going into that, that's beyond the point. The point is, the matter of the fact is that the Slammiversary main event, the thing that has been the focus of the shows, like there's been other things they've been focusing on, like the Bullet Ray, EC3, other stuff, but this has been like the main focus, as it should have been. It's been built great so far. And now it's all being thrown out.
And you see, here's the thing now. With Payback, WWE, Daniel Bryan obviously got hurt, and they had a main event, Kane versus him, and a Buried Alive match they want to do. But now that Daniel Bryan's gone... Well, yeah, supposedly. Now that Daniel Bryan's gone, they've still had all these other storylines that they're building together. And, you know, they obviously had...
And they were all equal footing. So
exactly.
I didn't even feel like Daniel Bryan was the main storyline going into Payback. At least not that I remember. Well, I haven't really been watching WWE's too much, but... Yeah, I mean, Evolution in the Shield felt like it was being built up pretty well.
Cena, Bray Wyatt.
Exactly.
There's not as much being built to Slammiversary. There's a decent amount.
Like they had the
there's
knockouts
no tag
are doing
team
well.
match. There's no X Division match being built.
Not really. The knockouts
Bully and
EC3, like you said, was decent. That's decent.
But
and if you would stop cutting me off, I was going to say the knockouts as well. You really need to work on that. But what I was going to say is that there's no way for them to truly edit the show. Like, they could edit the show and be like, MVP's injured. We got to throw Bobby Lashley against Eric Young, but then MVP's going to be on the screen, and he'd be fine without, like, crutches. And the only way they would be able to do that was make a segment at the last Impact, so Thursday, right after Impact. So let's say right after the final segment, they'll all of a sudden have MVP limping in the back and be like, Bobby Lashley, you gotta take on Eric Young. He's like, I got this, boss. I got this. That'd be the only thing they can do. But here's the suggestion I came up with, and then a lot of all other people are saying this as well. I came up with it first, though. It was in my mind.
Well, naturally.
Slammiversary, what was Slammiversary known for the first couple of years? What made it unique? It was one of the most ridiculous matches, but it was so much fun. It was so great.
King of the Mountain.
King of the Mountain. I feel like now is the perfect time. I don't know how they're going to work it in. I don't know how they're going to figure out what to do. But the King of the Mountain has to be done. You have 5 competitors already intermixed perfectly. Eric Young defends the title against Austin Aries, Bobby Lashley, Kenny King, Bobby Roode, and I guess Samoa Joe now, too. Because I forgot Samoa Joe came back. So that's 6 people right there. And King of the Mountains typically have 5, but you could do 6. You could do 6 to make it chaotic. Or you could do 4 and do Austin Aries, Kenny King, Eric Young, and Bobby Roode, and then have Samoa Joe and Lashley face against each other. Or have Kenny King and Aries face against each other if you don't want to have it that chaotic. But that'd be a great reason to buy the pay-per-view. People would be like, oh, King of the Mountain, that's great. They could, but the problem is they couldn't build it up. They don't want to be able to advertise it on Twitter a couple days before the pay-per-view because they put themselves in the corner with these tapings. Now, for all we know, this could just be a little injury and he'll be fine for Slammiversary. Keep in mind, he has 2 weeks to heal. But if it's a pop and it's an ACL tear in the knee, I mean, I've had knee injuries before. Well, I've had hip injuries, but the knee is a very, sensitive spot, and that's not something that can heal quickly.
No, I don't know what they're going to do with TNA. They kind of worked something in when the Bromans lost the tag team titles at the live event. They kind of just had them real quick. Because we were like, holy crap, they're going to be walking out the tag team titles because they pre-filmed TNA. And they were able to work that together.
They edited their entrance. But I remember also when Austin Aries lost the title in Japan to Sonata, there was a part where he just walked out with the X Division title around his waist. He was talking. We're like, wait a second, didn't Sonata win that? But I mean, that's the problem. I mean,
they're doing the shows way too in advance.
And
too
it's
advanced.
It's stupid because they just obviously at the time everyone's like, wow, leaving the Impact Zone was great, but I didn't realize that it would be so hard for them to book arenas. I didn't realize they'd have all these financial issues. I wish they would have just stayed in the Impact Zone because the Impact Zone that they originally had wasn't that bad. It looked good. The crowd was decently lively. It wasn't amazing, but it was good enough. And I feel like in 2012, 2013, that's when I started watching it. I feel like it was amazing. I really enjoyed the show. I remember Rude was champion, then Aries was champion. Even when Hardy was champion, his reign was awesome. Hardy was a great champion. And they were doing great, even though they were in the Impact Zone. And then, Lockdown had an awesome attendance. Bound for Glory in 2012 had a great attendance. So, it seemed well, and the first couple tapings had really good attendance, too. But then it just started catching up to them. Then they started going back to the Impact Zone and doing all these, multiple tapings. And it's okay, I felt, if they went live and did, 2 tapings, so 1 live, 1 for the next week. That's okay.
Yeah.
But it's when you do, a month of taping in advance that it just screws things up, because things like this are gonna happen, and it finally caught up to them. It finally happened.
Feels like at this point they're just starting to dig the hole themselves.
I don't think this is gonna be the killer for it.
No, it's not gonna end TNA. This isn't gonna be the end of TNA.
But it's just another nail in the coffin.
Exactly, and it's just stupid mistakes like this, filming 6 shows in a row. It's what's the?
Because they could the thing is they're thinking oh, we can't book anywhere, we can't sell a place, it's gonna cost too much money. I guarantee they could find a couple civic centers. 3,000 people arenas in Kentucky, Tennessee, and get at least 1,000 crowd.
But they signed this new company that's supposed to help promote them. You think that would help where they wouldn't have to do this crap anymore?
To be honest, Eric Young was on the Today Show.
Yeah, I saw him.
And people were like, oh, he wasn't even talking about TNA. Well, he was mostly talking about his show and talking about how to bait fish, but he brought the title on and let them hold it. He's like, oh, I'm the TNA World Heavyweight Champion. That alone, they're seeing the TNA belt. That helps. And now Robbie E. and Brooke Tessmacher are going to be on The Amazing Race. Did you hear about that?
Yeah, I just read that.
That's great for TNA. That probably was because the company helped them out.
Yeah, you're probably right.
TNA's definitely getting into the mainstream all of a sudden a little bit more. that's really good.
I just got to hope we can turn the faces to look at them and they can avoid filming 6 shows in a row.
Yeah, hopefully they can start thinking maybe we could even if they just rotated centers. Now they're doing 3 tapings in New York, which is a horrible idea. Horrible. You see how I did that with my voice? Horrible.
Why is that a horrible idea?
You're doing 3 tapings. 1 on a Thursday, 1 on a Friday, or 1 on a Saturday. Or 1 on a Wednesday, 1 on a Tuesday, 1 on a Friday. what are the chances that someone is going to be like, I'm going to buy tickets to a Thursday, a Friday, and a Saturday show? That's like $200+ per person right there. That's a horrible idea. Horrible. Oh my goodness. I mean, like, I like TNA, but they're just like, some of these decisions are just ridiculous. I have no idea why they'd ever do that. That's like the worst idea in the world.
No, I
don't know what they're thinking. I don't know what their problem is. They could have just... You know what they could do? They should honestly just find just some building. Just find an area, maybe like Chicago. Find a building, buy it, and just build a new Impact Zone. I'm sure... I mean, it would cost a decent amount of money, but I feel like it'd be a proper investment, so crap like this doesn't happen anymore. Wouldn't you agree? Just now, obviously I'm a little biased by saying it in Chicago, but still, it would be... That'd be fine. And they could even charge money to get in. It wouldn't even have to be too much either. They could charge like a $5, $10 fee to get in. People wouldn't really complain. They'd be like, oh, $5, $10, I could spend that every week to go see Impact. So they'd make a little bit of money at the gate, opposed to when they were in Orlando, because that was run by Universal Studios.
So it was free.
Yeah. And Chicago's a great crowd. They'd always be active.
That's true.
They wouldn't have to worry about, doing all these filmings. The only problem would be that they'd have to relocate everybody if they were to do something like that. So they could just keep it in Florida if they really wanted to, just to keep everybody. Because I'm pretty sure everybody likes to be based in Florida in TNA, right?
Not necessarily. I think just a lot of the wrestlers live in there. But I don't think it really matters, because as long as they're not... I mean, that's their career. They'd rather do that. I think they'd rather do something that's... I think the wrestlers would be okay with doing something that they know is going to be good for them.
Oh, my goodness.
Because obviously... they don't want to lose their jobs. They don't have to go back to they like them making their money.
Yeah,
I know that most of them, like Samoa Joe, he doesn't have a shot in WWE anymore. Bobby Roode doesn't have a shot in WWE anymore. They're
I know, like a lot of that. A lot of that's too old. Because I was gonna say, like, you look at some of the TNA talents and you'd be like, wow, they could get in WWE. Like Bobby Roode, I think would be amazing in WWE because he's like not just because he's my favorite wrestler, but because he's just a great wrestler.
Oh yeah, but he's past his.
But it's too old. The same thing with AJ. He was just too old. Not that he's bad or anything, but WWE wants to focus on the new talent, which is obviously not doing too well for WWE.
And also, what hurts AJ is because he was, he was TNA from day one.
Yeah,
they're not going to pick up somebody and put him over John Cena. It just wouldn't be. They didn't do that with WCW. Why would they do that with TNA?
I don't know. That's ridiculous because like a lot of the guys in TNA are like were really talented. Like,
well, that's what Jim Ross even said. Jim Ross, says are very talented. They need to focus on that.
Because, like, if WWE could pick up Saban's what, like, 30? He'd be great in WWE. He'd be, like, okay, obviously WWE doesn't focus on the Cruiserweight, but they could make a Cruiserweight title, and Saban could be a candidate for that. Or they get him and Shelley and get the Motor City Machine Guns. Obviously, they wouldn't call them that, but they'd be a great tag team. WWE would love... Because remember the Bound for Glory match with those two against Generation Me? That was phenomenal.
They were great.
And that's what makes TNA so unique. So... Wow, we really went off on a tangent.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about, too. I was like, this is...
Jeez, So, pretty much, TNA, I have no idea what they're going to do, but they have to do a King of the Mountain match. They just have to. That's the only answer. I don't see what else they could do. I really don't. That's the only thing that makes sense at this point. Now, of course, they had matches, apparently, like Austin Aries versus Kenny King, Samoa Joe versus Bobby Lashley built up, so they'd lose 2 matches. But then again, they could just throw something together.
Well, you can have a 35, 40-minute match.
Exactly, with the King of the Mountain. Oh, yeah, with all the promos and all that. I mean, they could build up
easily.
And, I don't know, an MVP could still be there, but he could just be like an enforcer or something, or just like, be
commentator.
Commentator or something. Because
and he could screw Eric Young.
Yeah,
he can climb he can definitely. And Kurt Angle fought with a torn ACL. MVP can climb in the ring and hit Eric Young and knock him off the ladder.
Yeah. He doesn't need to take a bump or anything because he'd probably have like surgery or something around.
Yeah, but I mean, he can easily do that.
Man, I don't know because then what other matches would they have? They'd have probably James Storm versus Anderson. I don't know, Sonata versus who? Like, who would Sonata defend next? The Bromance versus the Von Erichs. I heard about that, so, like, the Von Erichs are coming.
Oh, yeah.
EC3 versus Bully Ray. A knockouts match. So what, wait, hold on. Von Erichs, Bully Ray, King of the Mountain, knockouts. That's 4. They could have a tag team title match. I don't know against who. I don't know what they do then. I mean, that's rough. They could do something with Gunner. They could just throw a couple matches together at this point. Because at this point...
They could try to bring back Daniels. Bad Influence for a night. Sign up for a one-night contract.
Against the Wolves. That would be awesome. But at this point, I'll be on Slammiversary. Any plans they had are just thrown out the window if this is truly severe. Now, he might be okay. He might be fine. But based on what everybody's saying, he's not. And TNA is going to have to scramble and find out what to do ASAP. I don't know, but what do you guys think? Comment down below, tweet us, email us. We'd love to hear your responses, and we'll definitely be following this closely, and we'll give you a video if we have any updates and reports. And hopefully TNA listens to this somehow. Hopefully if we tweet them enough, they will make a King of the Mountain match, because I think that'd probably be the best thing, and that'd keep me being interested in Slammiversary. Because right now, if he's gone, the main reason I'd want to get Slammiversary is gone. But we'll see. Any closing comments, Corey?
You know, it's just, like I said, they put themselves in a hole, and I don't know what they're gonna do. We'll have to wait and see, I guess. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see for Thursday or Impact 365 if they announce anything, or on Twitter. I mean, they got to have something. They're probably going to try. They're going to send MVP to the doctor, make sure that he really is hurt, and then go from there.
Oh no, unless they can just book the Impact Zone and redo the tapings. But you never know. Anyway,
you guys rock and roll.
Yeah.
Talk to you later.
Bye.